Hey there, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Cutting Room Floor. The Cutting Room Floor is a web episode where I get to dig into a passage of scripture from a message here at Sunny Slope Church. And throughout the month of November and into December, we here at Sunny Slope have been looking at what does it mean to wait for the return of Jesus. And that has brought up a lot of questions about what is heaven going to be like and what is it going to be like in the final judgment. Um, and a question came to me that I thought was kind of interesting, and even though it wasn't really directly related to a recent sermon here, I thought it was a question that'd be worth asking because I think it's one of these questions that a lot of people have wondered about, and so I thought it'd be good to give maybe a little bit of a few thoughts on it. And the question is, will our pets be in heaven when your pet dog or your pet cat, or if you're a farmer, you've got cows and maybe you become attached to some of them, I don't know, but when they die, will you see them again in heaven? And I think the best way to answer that is like this. I think you have to start with the question, what does the Bible say about whether or not there are animals in heaven? And I think, and then from there we can kind of go into, will our pets be in heaven? Because those are actually two slightly different questions. The first part of that question is the question of whether or not animals will be in heaven. And I thought, I took this picture just for fun. I'm going to put this up on the screen. I took this picture about a year ago, and no, I got to find it here. Let me. All right, so you should be able to see this picture up on the screen. I took this picture about a year ago when I was in Liberia, in West Africa, and I was teaching there. And it just so happened that the home we were staying in had a couple of pets, including this dog and this cat. And one morning, lo and behold, I come to find out that the cat and the dog were lying down together, and it was too cute to not take a picture of that. And part of the reason I took a picture of it is because it reminds me of that passage in Isaiah where God says that, where the prophet Isaiah says that the lion will lie down with the lamb. And so there's this, and of course that's a depiction of what heaven is going to look like. It's a picture of what eternity will be like. And so I think there's no reason not to assume that there's some literal truth there, which is that animals will definitely be a part of the new heavens and the new earth. And why shouldn't they be, right? Why should they not be a part of the new creation that God is bringing about? So I think the answer to the first part of this question of will our pets be in heaven is that there's absolutely no reason to assume that animals will not be in heaven. In other words, yes, we will see all kinds of animals in heaven, and they'll be probably just as peaceful as you can see on the screen in front of you. Now, the next part of that question is more personal, which is, will my pet be in heaven? Will my dog or cat or cow or iguana or whatever else it might be in heaven? And to answer that, again, the question is, well, what does the Bible actually say? And I think the Bible, in all fairness, we have to say, well, I think the Bible is fairly silent about that. At least it doesn't, to my knowledge, it doesn't give us any indication that there will be, it doesn't say definitively that our pets will be in heaven or they won't be in heaven. But I want to make the case to you that there's good reason to think that, yes, they will be in heaven. And here's how the thinking goes. Heaven is the renewal of all of creation. And so when we talk about heaven, we're talking about this world as we know and experience it today, but completely renewed and transformed and purified and cleansed from all evil and sin and wickedness and unrighteousness. And so when we assume that, we're making a connection between the world as we know it now and the world that is yet to come. We're saying that there's continuity between the world today and the world that awaits us in the new heavens and the new earth. And if there's continuity, then there's no reason to suppose that the animals, which are part of the created order, will not be in heaven. The animals that we know and see today will not be a part of this new heavens and the new earth. Keeping in mind that animals do not have a soul in the way that human beings do, right? I think the biblical, the text of the Bible, Genesis chapters 1 and 2, remind us that human beings are different from creation. We are made in the image of God. We are moral agents in the way that animals and other creatures are not. And so human beings have the ability to rebel against God and therefore to be excluded from God's presence because of their moral corruption. But that doesn't apply to animals. Animals don't have the ability to rebel against God in the way that human beings do. And so there's no reason to suppose that an animal of any kind would be excluded from the presence of God on the basis of their moral shortcomings and impurity. So then that I think leaves open very much the possibility that the animals that we know and love in this world can be a part of the world that is to come. Now, again, I want to emphasize, I can't point to a biblical passage that says, thus saith the Lord, Fido is going to be in heaven. But I think the biblical logic flows that way. Now, some people hearing this might be skeptical, and understandably so. So here's where I can sort of put my appeal to higher authority, which is one none less than R.C. Sproul actually has made the case, and he makes it in his book. Now that's a good question. Here's the book. In this book, he actually makes the case that there's no reason not to think that animals will be in heaven. And so I have no trouble accepting that. And so I think, that's a comfort if because animals, the truth is, are pets. And I'm not, I'm a converted pet lover. Animals, dogs, cats, they can really become very meaningful parts of our lives. And so, I think there's a measure of maybe comfort and reassurance knowing that, yes, indeed, our animals can be, we can expect and hope to see them again in the new heavens and the new earth. Hey, thanks for watching this bonus episode of The Cutting Room Floor. I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe, leave a comment, leave your thoughts, and we'll see you on the next episode.